I think the fear of death, I think, is the most powerful, and the closer to you get to that, the more intense the work that you're gonna put into it to survive.
Yeah, the natural
It's just
survivability.
it's just natural. Like
Like, okay, so Frank's yelling at you, to do this
and
skill.
when you're a kid, you're like, holy shit,
You're
man.
mo-
He's
you're
gonna,
more scared of him than how hurt you are gonna get
Exactly,
if
yeah.
you mess up that skill,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
The distance.
Alrighty, guys, listen, we're back with another episode just for you. I'm with Chris today. Today we're going to be talking about how to learn. So a lot of people don't really understand what it is like to learn the complex movements us as gymnasts do, and the technique and the amount of numbers that it takes. And we're going to try to offer you guys some insight in how we go about learning these new skills, new routines, and how we go about understanding and comprehending how technical they are. And, I feel like learning can be applied to almost everything. So our insight should be almost universally applicable, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's look back when we were like young athletes, like just starting out, when we were learning everything. Like, what was your mindset as a young kid when it came to learning something new?
I think when you're young, you're very malleable, and everything is very interesting. So I think it's very innate for kids to learn. I think that's why you go to school, and you experience a lot of different things to learn what the world has to offer you.
Yeah, I feel like when you're a young kid, learning is innate, because obviously that's how we're programmed. We're programmed to learn when we're young, so that we develop whatever. I don't know the scientific stuff behind it, but that's just how humans are.
Yeah.
Almost all of us, at least. And I feel like because everything's so interesting when you're young, just because everything is so like new and wow and like vibrant, I feel like that is why it's easier to learn things when you're younger. That level of interest that something new has.
Yeah. I
And-
think there's two ways of learning, which I kind of believe. I'm sure there's others, but fear and pleasure. I think it's very
I would go and I would
emotionally-
say like almost pain and pleasure.
Okay, yeah.
We'll do the two polar opposites.
that makes more sense. You
Yeah.
got that philosophy major.
Yeah, that was actually the first unit I heard about, but besides the point. Yeah, I like you said, pain and pleasure.
Like emotional things that really stick to you. I think that just stays in your mind, and if it stays in your mind, that's what I feel like learning is.
Yeah, like whacking my shins off the pommel handle. It hurts. It's painful.
And then
Don't want to do that
Coach
again.
tells you to open your hips or something, and you're like, okay, that worked. I don't want to hit my shins again. I'm gonna keep doing what works.
Yeah. But then you get the people that just keep whacking them. Just keep whacking them no matter what happens. Like you on pummels. One more time doing
Yeah, I don't
doing
whack
your routine.
my shins, but like I just fall.
Yeah.
I don't know how to. And for me, falling is not too much of a
So
pain.
you got two ways of learning, pain or pleasure. One's the stick, one's the carrot. Which one do you like more?
Interesting.
You got the stick that's like, oh, it's gonna hurt, or you got the carrot, yummy carrot.
Because I think I'm very old school. I do like the pain route. It's
Yeah.
more simple. I feel like it's
easier to.
easier. There's no like little wishy washy like, oh, you gotta get that carrot.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, like,
Like having a hard ass coach. I think when you're young, really cemented my ability to learn.
yeah,
But you do have some of those, like once in a while you get that big pleasure from that coach.
yeah,
It's like, oh, you do this, we'll play soccer. Like Frank always used to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
and we always loved soccer. So like oh,
Soccer, playing soccer
come
was
on,
great.
Davey,
That was a
we
good
gotta
carrot.
do this.
That was a good carrot, honestly,
Yeah.
playing soccer. Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Like, there's a ton of debate on which is better for teaching the carrot or the stick.
Like, I think is a good balance.
Like you said, you prefer the stick because you're old school. You
Yeah.
know, make a case for it. Why is it better than the carrot?
I think the fear of death, I think, is the most powerful, and the closer to you get to that, the more intense the work that you're gonna put into it to survive.
Yeah, the natural
It's
survivability.
it's just natural.
Like, okay, so Frank's yelling at you, you know, to do this
And
skill.
when you're a kid, you're like, holy shit,
You're
man, he's
you're
gonna-
more scared of him than how hurt you are gonna get
Exactly,
if
yeah.
you mess up that skill,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I feel like to some extent you have to have that fear almost.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could look at it as fear, you could look at it as accountability. Either way, it's like accountability is like you're afraid of they're gonna be disappointed in you.
Yeah,
or
and then you
whatever.
got some adrenaline spiking in you, and when you have adrenaline, you remember things. better.
So you're more of a stick. I feel like the argument that you would make against the carrot, the reward in learning is like, okay, when you go and learn something, you're now always going to be expecting a reward.
Exactly, yeah, that too.
So you see, this is what happens a lot. I find that this creates people that burn out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're younger and you're getting a lot of motivation from the reward at the end of it, when you start to do things in life that don't have a reward at the end of it, doing the dishes, you know, doing your laundry, that kind of stuff, you become neglectful of them because there's no reward at the end. That's how you're programmed. You're programmed to put the work towards the things that are rewarding, not the things that are, and everything's rewarding in themselves, don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, but the what's the wording? The immediate sense of reward is not there.
I think the only viable, sustainable way to enjoy the pleasure route is the fact that you completed a task. I think humans, they kind of forget that we like to finish tasks. We like to solve puzzles. When we do the dishes, we do feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
If you do anything, honestly, like you get better. So if you learn how to be very pleasure driven just by
The simple
within?
pleasures. Like-
yeah, I think that's the only way I like to view pleasure, because yeah, of course you get monetary,
Monetary, yeah.
or like materialistic
Yep.
things. It's like sometimes you just you won't get that.
Yeah. Well, like I see this all over my Instagram feed now, and it's somebody developed an app that like you're like this character, and every time you do chores in real life, you level up in the game. So it's trying to like connect that there's lack of reward, and there's not any reward,
Yeah.
but there's lack of substantial reward. So they're trying to associate that to a bigger reward
Sure,
in this
sure.
external area.
I mean, that's great and all, but like, how hard is that task? You click a button and then you get the reward.
But you
Sure,
have to actually do the dishes. But like you could just click a button and lie. And yeah, I know, but that's not the idea behind it. The idea behind it is to
But I
create.
feel like that's what people will learn.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
Because I do kind of feel that in like video games. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you do like this. And then you
like
get this.
when we're playing League of Legends and I last hit a minion, I feel good.
Yeah.
Because I got the gold.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't last hit a minion, but I still
And
kill it.
all these games too, like phone games. I'm talking about like apps.
Yo,
Oh, watch this free ad to get some reward.
how many phone games you got now, Chris?
I got poker and TFT and
Nah,
chess.
there's one more. What's the other one? I saw you with another one the other day.
Oh no, I deleted that one.
Ah.
I played it for a day and I'm like, yo, these ads, man.
Okay, good. At least you learn.
But like sometimes I miss like having those phone games just fucking just on your phone.
Yeah, but you look at coming back to the what's gonna teach you to learn, like trying to connect a task to a reward isn't always gonna necessarily teach you. It might, but I don't want to say it'll teach you as efficiently.
How so?
Well, I think that if you are doing a task solely for the reward, you won't take any pleasure doing the task itself. And when it comes to those tasks that you need to do that don't have a reward but are necessary, you're not going to be inclined to do them.
Right. No.
Okay, look at
Because
the...
when the work's too hard, like you're gonna more likely quit.
Yeah, exactly. When the
'Cause
work's
you
too
don't-
hard.
You don't have that pleasure that you're getting the thing done.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think that there's a lot of problems with the carrot opposed to the stick. With the stick, if you don't do something,
It's more
there's-
like an ultimatum. You
there's
do it or you
always-
die.
yeah.
or you
but it's also
get
an
paid.
ultimatum on the other side, though. You do it or you don't get the carrot.
Yeah,
But
for me,
it's-
I don't care about the carrot. So,
I know you don't like eating carrots, okay? But okay, maybe it's a dumpling or it's a what else do you like? You
I
like
get it.
katsu or sushi?
uh-huh.
What's your favorite food?
Beef.
Okay, so pretend it's beef.
Yeah, but like I can live without beef. I can't live without death, or with death. You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like the extreme.
I'm always talking about the extreme.
Yeah, like
and then everything.
okay,
in
so then what's
between.
the extreme of the carrot?
Oh, there is no extreme for the carrot. There is
So-
no ultimate pleasure.
Yeah, or maybe we just haven't found it yet. But but
I don't know. Maybe
if you look at it that
opioids.
way, maybe we see the stick as being more enticing as a term of learning because there is a big extreme that you can take it to. Whereas with the carrot, you can only go so far
Yeah,
in terms of your own limitations.
that makes sense.
Like, oh, okay, like I didn't do my assignment. I'm not gonna play PS4, PS5, whatever you guys got nowadays. I don't know. I'm not gonna play it for a week. Versus, okay, that's a bad example.
Was that pain?
Yeah, that
Oh, you
was.
can have the same as like, oh, if I do this, I guess it's more positive, right?
Okay, I feel like
that's a very interesting swing because like
yeah,
if I don't do my homework, it's negative. I don't get the PlayStation.
yeah,
That's like pain, yeah.
yeah.
You can also just like reverse psychology it, just be like more like, oh, if I do it positive, I will get to play on my PS whatever.
Here's another interesting thought though, with the reward in terms of learning. If you're working on a task to achieve the reward, while working on the task, sometimes you might already have actualized that you've received the reward.
I'm sorry, I just completely.
I lost you there. Let me try to reword it. Maybe that wasn't the greatest wording. Maybe if while you're completing a task for a reward, in your mind, while you're still working on the task, perhaps you have already achieved the reward in your mind. So I'm working. I'm working at my 9-to-5 job, whatever it is, right? I do the whole day. I haven't got my paycheck yet, but
Yeah.
because I completed the task, I've got paid, but I haven't received it yet.
Right? Yeah.
So let's say I go and I work. I get my paycheck, and it's not as much as I thought it was. I'm gonna be disappointed. Like obviously it's a set amount, whatever you know. Let's say the reward is undetermined.
Yeah.
And that's also a problem with reward-driven learning because sometimes the reward is undetermined in scale. You could get a big reward for doing nothing, or you could get a little reward for working your ass off. So sometimes the indeterminacy, I don't know if that's a word.
It
But
makes sense.
it makes sense. I think that sometimes affects it. and makes it lose its effectiveness.
Yeah, in the coaching courses, whatever, I don't know what levels, but they introduce this system for how you want your athletes to think. I
Okay.
forget what it was. I think it was like learn to learn, and then learn to practice, and then learn to compete, learn to achieve.
Oh,
or
it's
whatever. You know this one?
It's yeah, you're right. Learn to learn, learn to practice, practice to compete.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically you're learning how to learn the
Yeah,
things.
but like the first step is learn to learn.
Learn to
which
learn.
is-
It's the first step in anything, really.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to progress.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to progress. And in your opinion, what's the first step in learning how to learn?
Discipline.
Discipline. I would
Structure.
say discipline is an attribute of a person that can learn, but I think learning how to learn, you have to first identify what you're trying to learn.
You're trying to learn.
Okay, learning how to learn. This let's reword this a little bit. Okay, when you're learning how to develop a skill, the first thing you have to do is identify what the goal is, right? So you're learning a skill in gymnastics. You gotta see what it is, see or no, depending on whether it's something visually that's done you can look at, or whether it's you're making something up, or a new skill, new combination, whatever it is. You have to have that goal and that plan on how to get there.
So do you work backwards? Do you look at like the biggest, like for example, if you want to learn like a handstand,
Yeah.
you would look at the handstand and then dissect it and then work backwards
Yeah, I would agree.
to get like the strength, the mobility.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's dissect a handstand, honestly. Let's work backwards from it. So I'm assuming most of our viewers know what a handstand is. I think everybody should know that. It's a pretty common even outside the gymnastics world, right? So what's the first thing in a handstand? Your hands are connected to the floor, right? That's the pivot point. That's where the handstand starts.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would look at the wrist mobility and wrist strength for number one, right? Mm-hmm. So pushing against the floor for balancing, stuff like that. That's wrist and forearm strength.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gotta make sure you got the wrist and forearm strength. And then you would go and you can be like, can they even support their own weight on their hands, right? So you're moving up into the shoulder area, kind of through the body. Okay, so can they support weight on their hands in like a push-up position? Can they support their own weight?
So you're talking about literally like
Literally.
moving up the body.
Literally, we're gonna move up the body. And then you go, okay, do they have the strength to keep their shoulders open? Right? And then you look, okay, do they have the strength to keep their abs tight so they stay in a straight line? Do they have the strength in their legs to keep it like
Together.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of different ways you could go about testing each of these without actually doing the handstand.
Yeah.
Right? Like you would put them on
Like for me, working backwards would more so be like, first is, can they do like a front support, and can they do a front support with their feet a little higher?
Yeah.
And then they will work it up. That's what I was more so getting at.
Okay. So you
Like
weren't
different drills to enforce like the level. It's like, say handstands here, you're here. First you gotta get this
so
first skill.
me and you are looking at very different
Yeah,
approaches.
yeah.
This is interesting. So you're looking at breaking down the handstand into
Of course it's gonna
different
teach
levels of handstand.
different
Let's call it
different
that.
levels, yeah.
Different levels of handstand as you get your feet up higher, right? Whereas I was looking at taking them individually. So
Of
there's
course.
two different ways of looking at teaching there too.
Yeah. But I think they're both the same, because I'm sure you would still do similar drills than me.
Yeah, I'm sure
Like
there's
half
some overlap,
handstands.
but the fact that we looked at them differently.
Yeah. Because like I was like, what the hell is this guy
Yeah,
talking
I
about?
kind of confused you. You're looking at like a leveling system of different levels of the handstand, whereas I was kind of taking it apart. And maybe that's an interesting thing for our viewers.
No, but like, I still do that. I think that's very important. Like you can see someone's handstand,
yeah,
take a look at it. Okay, your hips is shit. I gotta fix that. What do I do to fix your hips?
yeah, exactly. And then you isolate and dissect it.
Isolate, and then you can work on the flexibility or the strength.
Yeah, so I think that like for all you math nerds out there, you know, like when you're solving a problem or something and you're trying to get better and doing it quicker, you know, let's say your factoring is weak. You don't know what factoring is, do you? It's okay, it's fine.
I remember there's numbers involved.
But
yeah?
you identify when you're solving your equations, you know, you identify what you're slow at, you take it, you isolate it, you practice it by itself, then you put it back in the whole thing's better.
Yeah.
Instead of just doing the whole thing over and over and over, you can take that one thing out and separate
Yeah,
it.
it's just you're pinpointing the specific thing that you lack.
And I think that is an important part of learning. You need to identify the deficiencies
Then
and
it's
learn how
just
to make them
information.
efficient.
You need
Yeah.
you need a lot of information.
And that information comes from numbers. And information comes from doing.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that this area of my skill was weak, so I take it out and then
Yep.
you do it.
And then you take this similar approach to anything and
But that's why it comes back to numbers though too, because you can, let's say I go and I do one thing once and I mess up some part of it. Is that enough to identify that that's my area of weakness, or could it have just been a once-off mess up? If you go and you're doing something constantly wrong, you can clearly identify that as
yeah,
weakness.
consistency.
Yeah.
You,
But
you need a big what's it called?
data set,
Data
group,
set. Yep.
a lot of number input to identify
Yeah.
what's wrong.
And then it's just statistics.
Yeah, then it's just statistics. But, and I feel like that can be applicable to a lot of sports, you know, we'll look at figure skating. I don't know the technical terms of figure skating. I'm sorry. But if you're trying to do the jump with the turn,
Yeah.
okay? Number one, it's on ice with blades on your feet. Scary. It's scary, okay? You do the jump with the turn and you're always finishing like a little short. Is it because you didn't push up high enough, or is it because you didn't wrap in enough? You won't know until you go and you test it a couple times. So I feel like this can be applicable in a lot of different sports. Like, did I not score the touchdown because I wasn't fast enough, or was it because I didn't take a right path? Like you can look at it a bunch of different
And
ways.
nowadays we have phones. What a beautiful invention.
Even though you hate them.
Yeah, no, I hate them. But you can look at yourself. I think that was a very big thing for I guess just sports in general.
Yeah.
Because yes, you can see what you're doing in your mind, but if you actually visually see from an outside perspective,
What you feel might not be what you do, too.
Exactly.
There might be some disconnect. Like when I remember when we were at the INS, you know, we'd stand in front of the mirror after sauna, we'd flex, and like I'd be like, hey, I'm flexing my lats. I'd look in the mirror and no, I wasn't. Like I didn't know how to flex my lats for a long time, but like that was like the mind muscle connection. I thought I was doing it, but what I'm actually doing, it feels different.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of new gym clubs nowadays, they don't have mirrors built into them. But you look at a bunch of the old clubs, a lot of them do have mirrors. Now the new clubs, because we have phones and stuff now, like, oh, that's your mirror. You put up your phone, you record, you go watch. Whereas they had the mirrors back in a lot of the old gyms so that you could actually see.
Yeah, but-
before cell phones and cameras were like a big thing.
It was, I guess, the right step in visual learning.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not the same, because if you're doing a skill, like
It's
say,
not the same. I
you
agree.
can't look at yourself and do the skill. Like the mirror is only like good for like stationary maybe.
Yeah, like coach comes
full
and
turn
says,
for
"Okay,
girls,
your shoulders
leg
were
kicks.
here." Yeah,
exactly.
you know, your shoulders were here. You look in the mirror. Okay, my shoulders here. So when I do that, it feels like that. Coach puts my shoulders here. Oh, this is where they need to be. Like it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's also a big part of learning, being able to visualize.
Yeah, I think visual learning, I think, is for me is
What
the
kind of
best.
learner are you? Because everybody's like a different mix.
What's the different ones?
So you
visual
learn. So visual,
Auditory.
is auditory, and kinesthetic, kinesthetic,
like
the
movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hands-on is more so. Which one are you?
I would think I would lean towards more visual, and then kinetic, and then auditory.
Okay. So for me, I'm auditory and kinesthetic. I think that's the wording. We'll look up the wording after, and then we'll realize how dumb we are. But the hands-on. So like I noticed that when I'm sitting in class, having those PowerPoints up on the screen doesn't help me. Like seeing the words doesn't help me. Listening to the professor speak and then actually talking about this content myself has helped me learn about it more, and maybe learn about it, memorize it, and kind of put together the pieces that I'm missing. So that's like my two combinations of how I learn, the type of learner I am. And identifying the type of learner you are can really show you which methods are going to be more effective. We're not talking about the carrot and the stick anymore. We're talking about specifically what deliverance methods of learning. So if you're coaching, Chris, and you got one of your kids that they like to listen, they listen very well, and they understand things very well, you probably don't have to move them around too much and put their body in the position that it needs to be
I
for the
just
skill.
have to yell at them.
You just have to yell at them. Maybe not yell at them, but you can see the value in identifying what type of learner they are and what they respond to better. Not only will it improve the efficiency it'll definitely improve the efficiency in which you're learning, but also it'll be more effective and more suited to you, which I think is very important.
I use all three methods. Like if.
But you notice some kids respond better to different things, right?
I'm pretty sure, but not. I haven't
You're not
not
dissecting.
confident. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just.
I would do all three. Maybe
Let's be honest. Your job
is
is to coach. You're not psychoanalyzing them all the time. Like it's something subconsciously.
I do sometimes.
It's something
Actually,
subconsciously you do though.
I psychoanalyze them and myself at the same time. I'm like, what the fuck do I even say?
Yeah. Yeah,
make them.
Well, so see, you are thinking about it. What do I say? What do I do to make them do this?
Okay, yeah.
So you are thinking about it, even though you didn't realize it.
Yeah,
Subconsciously, your body knows, or your mind knows, that there's different ways to teach, and that's how it is for you. You just didn't know that was what you were doing.
No.
What do I do? What do I say? Oh, yeah, that's how do I teach them?
Yeah.
What kind of teaching am I gonna?
I feel like I always do this. I like start talking and then I just pause and they're like, what what's happening?
but realizing this is good for the teacher, but it's also really good for you because you can advocate for what you need in order to learn. Which is another very important thing as athletes. You have to advocate for what you need.
Yeah.
And sometimes you know what you need, sometimes you don't. I certainly have my fair share of sometimes I didn't think I needed the routines, and then I look back and I'm like, damn, I needed to do those routines. I didn't know what I needed. And sometimes I've had the reverse of the experience where like, oh yeah, I didn't need that, but I did it anyways. Like, it's important to identify what you need, and sometimes you don't know what you need.
Yeah.
So it's important to have. That's why a coach is there. That's why your coach is there. Listen to your coaches, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah, like sometimes, like when Adrian tells me to do routines or whatever he wants me to do, sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I don't really think I need this, but maybe I just think I don't need it. Maybe he's right.
Well, you don't need anything. Come on now.
No, I need to get stronger, man. My ring strength ain't holding. But yeah, I feel like that's like the very beginning of learning. Like those are the steps that should be taken or identified before you've actually gone about the learning process. And then a big part of learning, as we talked in one of our other episodes, is about the habits. Developing those habits while you're learning is very important. you see somebody that they how is it? They run funny,
Mm-hmm.
if their arms are like not moving like efficiently, they're kind of flailing about, not producing as much power as you could. You look at them and you're like, that's just a bad habit from when they were learning, so that's how they always do it. So when you're actually learning in the very, very early stages, and this isn't before you start learning, this is once you actually start learning, it's very important to correct things that could develop into bad habits and inefficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I'm studying, for example, and I have a habit of checking my phone every 5 minutes, like that's something you should break early on. It's like it's negating my progress. I become distracted, stuff like
Habits
that.
are very tricky.
Yeah, they're very
'Cause
tricky.
Everyone's got some weird habits,
Yeah,
and they're very difficult to break.
Yeah.
Even like the running weird. You have to take them back and just show them how to just use their arms, which sounds super stupid.
yeah,
The kids won't want to do it, especially
Nope.
if they get older.
yeah.
They're like, oh, your handstand's bad. Like, for me, handstand is the base of gymnastics. I feel like I'm always just trying to fix a handstand.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Adrian's always trying to fix mine.
Like, Adrian still tries to fix ours.
Yeah, and
right?
we're elite level, multiple time international medalists at this point, and we're still working on our handstands
Yeah.
to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to not only stop the bad habits when they're young, but to keep monitoring to make sure that they don't develop throughout your learning process, and even once you've learned the skill or whatever you're trying to learn.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the very beginning, you should be identifying what bad habits will not make the learning process as efficient for you.
Because usually when I coach, sure, sometimes when they're learning new skills, I don't mind too much if it's technically not the best.
Yep.
But I would rather them not make the skill, but just have it technically good. So eventually, when they do eventually get that skill, I won't have to change anything after.
And that's why you see a lot of gymnasts that are throwing the big skills with messy form. The technique is all off. It's. I honestly think it's something to do with the coach and the athlete not caring enough about the technique and the habits they developed when they were first learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then also not caring enough to fix them later. But yeah, like I feel like that's something that creates problems for you later down the road if you don't nip them in the butt right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think about like learning is mental, but your body can learn too.
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory.
Yeah. Honestly, I agree with that because
Because I don't know, sometimes I don't know if their mind's wrong or their body's wrong.
well, I look at it this way. Like when I came back after my back injury in the summer, I had 3 months off doing nothing, literally lying in bed. And I come back and it's I still know how to do all the skills. My mind still knows how to do them, but my body was not in shape to do them. And then I've also had days where my mind is not there, but my
Yeah.
body can still go through it and do
It's
it.
just on autopilot.
Yeah, autopilot, exactly. You click the autopilot button. Like there's been some days where I come into the gym and I'm just exhausted, or I had a bad night, or whatever went on, and my mind is just checked out, but my body can still go through the movements. And I've also had times where my body feels like shit, and then my mind can make my body do it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So I've had both sides of it,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that means that they're one and the same, or they're two different things, and you just get two different sides of the spectrum sometimes.
Yeah. I'm not too sure.
Which one do you experience more?
Couldn't say. I think probably my mind.
Yeah, I think I feel my mind pushing my body more.
Because everything is from your mind. Because like even your body is connected to your mind. You know
I saw this meme, and it's we are not our hand, our heart, our ribs.
I think
We're
I
our
told
brain. You know,
Yeah.
we're our nervous system. We're inside our cockpit right now, which is my skull, and I'm piloting a bone and
We're
flesh
just-
mech suit.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think. I'm not this. I am just this. That is it. That is
Yeah,
me.
but that's just perspective. Because like
Yeah.
yes, you control a car, therefore you are the car.
I am one with the car. I am cooking the pot. I am one with the pot. Like
Yeah,
cooking with the pot. Yeah, that's an important part,
Because you
and that's funny. You should bring up perspective because perspective is extremely important when learning. Because you look at who's to say that you've learned something adequate when their perspective might be different than yours.
yeah.
Like I might think, oh, something's terrible. Like this doesn't feel good. Like it feels off. Like when I'm learning a new skill, the timing doesn't feel right. But then your coach will say that was perfect. Like don't worry about it. It's okay. Like it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like your perspective of how it feels can be skewed.
Yeah.
As well as somebody else's
Very
on the
much
outside.
so.
Yeah. And it's very rare that I think you'll have the perspective of somebody looking out of line perfectly with yours. If I think having somebody's perspective align perfectly is impossible. But,
I think it's impossible.
yeah, but the perspective looking at your own learning is important to in terms of an evaluation standpoint of where you are along the road.
Yeah. As long as you're looking at the same page, you know, I think
Yeah.
you're on the right track.
Yeah, if you're looking at the same page.
You might perceive it some other way, or the other person can perceive it completely wrong. But I think you should be looking at the same page.
Yeah, because you look at the little kid who's looking at the complex math you're doing, for example. I don't know, trying to use different examples other than gymnastics, and they might like, oh, you're perfect, you're the smartest person in the world. Meanwhile, it's like only first year university math. Like perspective matters.
Yeah.
So, in identifying where you're at in terms of the learning process, it's important to take in biased and unbiased perspective. Because if you're in it every day, you know, sometimes it feels like watching grass grow, and you might not be able to actually realize the progress that you've made.
Okay. Nice. All right. Before we go, what are you learning right now, Jason?
What am I learning right now? I'm learning how to play "Drop in the Ocean" on piano by Ron Pope.
Okay.
That's what I'm learning.
How are you going about this learning?
Well, that's an interesting question. Okay, so first things first, I kind of know that I always have trouble with my right hand, or not my right hand, my left hand on the piano. It's my non-dominant hand. It's not as coordinated, so I kind of know I have trouble with that hand. So I'm trying to learn how to do that hand first in the song.
So just isolating.
I've already identified that it's weak when I tried to play it the whole thing, and I identified that my left hand's the weakest. So I'm just isolating that right now, and then practicing the right hand so that when this is ready, it's all good to go. But I'm like I said, I learn by doing, and I learn by hearing. So I'm listening to the song in front of me. I have the chords written out too, because I don't have perfect pitch.
Yeah.
So I have the chords written out too. But I'm listening, and then I'm practicing, and then I'm listening again, and then I'm practicing again, trying to match up the timing and the right notes at the right times, that kind of deal. That's kind of the process I'm taking to learning this right now.
Nice.
I don't know if it's if there's any piano teachers watching. I need some lessons, but if you got a better way to learn how to play songs on the piano, please let me know.
Yeah, just come with a ruler. Smack his ass.
Come with a ruler, you know, the stick, and just slap my fingers every time they go in the wrong spot.
Yeah, good.
But I also like carrots, so if you want to bring me a carrot. Alrighty, thank you guys for joining us. Me and Chris loved having you on this episode of the Rise podcast. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, go learn, boys.
Go learn.